Okay, welcome back. It's me, Chef Nick again. In some of our other videos, we've done things like making soups and making breads. We've done some chicken, we've done some lamb, we've done some main courses and cooked fish, all kinds of things. Now we're going to get into my favorite part of the meal, dessert. This particular recipe is a chocolate fondant cake, which is something a lot of people refer to as a lava cake or chocolate molten cake, some crazy name like that. There's no lava in it, so I'm not really sure why it's called lava cake, although I do understand because it oozes out. But basically that's just a sort of fudge type mixture. So we're going to make that first because that needs to set up in the fridge and that takes time. So what I want to do is I've got some simmering water over there, and I just want to start to melt my chocolate. So I'm going to put this into a large bowl, and I'm going to put this on top of the water on a very low heat. Okay, so I'm going to put this over my double boiler. I'm also going to add some good unsalted butter. That's going to go in. I've got also some flour, cake flour. I've got some white granulated sugar. I've got a whisk. I've got a heat-proof spatula, okay? Make sure that when you're working over heat, that if you're going to be using a spatula, make sure that it is heat-proof. The last thing you want to do is put a spatula over the fire and realize that it's melted. So now I'm going to put in my eggs. And my egg yolks. And you want to whisk this together until it forms a very nice, homogeneous, smooth mixture. Okay, so we have a nice, very nice, almost done now. This is a very simple cake batter to make. As I said, it's only got a few ingredients. The real key comes in the cooking process. If it's overcooked or undercooked, it's not exactly how you want it to be. It's not very good. So now my eggs, my egg yolks, my chocolate, my butter are all mixed, very, very smooth. So now I'm going to rein in my sugar here. And then I'm just going to slowly mix this together. And then I'm going to dump in my sifted cake flour. Now it does look fairly soft, which is fine. What I like to do with this particular mixture is once it's mixed, is to put it in the fridge until it firms up, and then I use a scoop to make accurate portions. So I'm going to put this into the fridge for now, and later, once it's cooled and chilled, we're going to portion it up and cook some fondant cakes. Okay, so at the start of this video, if you recall, I melted my chocolate and my butter together, then I mixed it with my eggs, my egg yolks, some cake flour, and some granulated sugar, and then I put it in the fridge. So now what's happened is that the chocolate and the butter have solidified, and now we've got a much more firm cake batter. So what I've got here is just some nice China ramekins, and you can use a variety of different sizes. You don't want to go too much bigger than this, because then it's hard for the cake to set up properly. You can also make miniature ones as well. So what I want to do with this is take a little bit of butter. I'm just going to take a little knob of butter here. I'm just going to rub it around. And that's enough probably for one or two of them. You can also use cooking spray if you like. It's really up to you. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit more. And again, just using my finger, just rub it around here. Make sure you get all the bottom and the corners, and then any excess you can just take out. So I'm just going to grease up 4 ramekins here, and then we're going to get this fondant cake into the oven. I'll take a little bit more here and get this nicely mixed in. Now, the other thing we want to do is, just as a precaution, is we just want to dust these so that once the cake is made, we can tip it out a little bit easier. And so to do that, I've got a little bit of icing sugar, also called adornment sugar here. So I've got some icing sugar, and I've got some nice dark cocoa powder. Again, as I mentioned earlier, that desserts can sometimes be fairly overwhelming or too sweet. Such as with the cake batter, I use a dark, high cocoa chocolate to make it a little more bitter, so it's not quite so sweet. I'm using also a nice Dutch processed cocoa powder to help balance out the sweetness from this. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm just going to mix it together to make a nice, light dusting material here, a light dusting coating. And then I'm just going to take it and put it into my ramekin. And then I want to just tip it around, and I'll actually use this bowl, and I'm just going to tip it around just to make sure I get all the edges and all the sides done. And then I'm just going to tip that and just lightly bang it off so that I'm left with a really nicely coated ramekin. And I'll do this with all 4 of them. Okay, so you want to tip out the excess. And again, just go around here. Okay, and last one here. So we got these nicely dusted ramekins. Then I'm going to take a ice cream scoop. And the reason I like to use an ice cream scoop for this is because you get a very level portion, or you get a very equal portion. So what I'm going to do is take a nice large scoop, overflowing scoop, and I'm going to put that into each one. Okay, so take 4 equal scoops. Okay, and just let that fall in there. Okay, and last one. All right. So now I'm going to take these and place them into an oven, and they're going to cook for about 8 to 9 minutes at 190 degrees. Okay, so our cakes are out of the oven now. They're looking very, very delicious. I'm just going to grab a towel here, just so I can grab them. So we're just going to make sure that this center is nice and liquidy. So I'm just going to take a knife and just gently run around the outside of the cake, just to make sure it's loose and not connected at all. And then I'm just going to tip this out. And now we'll just cut straight down the middle here. And we've got our beautiful molten chocolate cake, okay? And so what that is really is just, it's uncooked cake batter, sorry. So it's sort of like a fudgy, chocolatey, delicious center to your cake. But now we want to put this on a plate. So we're going to take our other cake, and I've got some nice raspberry sauce here. So I'm going to take a little bit of this raspberry sauce and just put some into the center of the plate here. And the tartness from the raspberry sauce, the sourness from the raspberry sauce will help to sort of balance out the richness and the sweetness of the cake. So I'm going to take a towel again and just tip out my cake. So I'm just going to flip it over gently and then put this onto my plate just off the center there. Okay. Now what I want to do is I've got some cookie crumbs, and this is just made from some scrap cookies. We have some vanilla cookies or wafers. And I just kind of crush them up, and I'm going to put a little pile right there, just off the side of the cake. And that's going to be where our ice cream is going to go. So I'm just going to grab some ice cream. So I've got some nice coffee gelato here. And I'm going to take a spoonful and just make a very nice quenelle shape, okay? And that's going to go right on to my dessert. And so there you have a chocolate fondant cake with raspberry sauce and coffee gelato. Enjoy.